Friends and colleagues, please join me in welcoming the 16th Secretary of the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, Secretary Julián Castro.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you very much, Laura, for your kind introduction and more importantly for the fantastic work that I know that you're doing with the U.S. Interagency Council on Homelessness. Getting 19 federal agencies to work together, get on the same page is no small task, but you've done an excellent job. And we all want to commend you for bringing everyone together to advance our common goals. And I applaud your efforts and look forward to working with you as part of the council. I also want to thank Nan Roman. Let me tell you, I told her a couple of minutes ago that Nan comes with a great reputation as one of the best advocates in the entire field, not just in terms of homelessness, but when it comes to investing in people. Nan, you've shown extraordinary leadership and passion and a compassion for people over the years. I value your work and thank you for the invitation today. Finally, let me express my appreciation to all of you. I know that we have folks from all over the United States who are here with us. Anybody here from California? All right, how about Florida? Anybody here from New York? How about Illinois? What I want to know is anybody here from Idaho? There you go. There you go. All right. Well, since I'm fresh from Texas, is anybody here from the great state of Texas? Thank y'all very much for having me here today. I am so happy to be here with a diverse crowd of people from all over the United States. I was just sworn in on Monday as the nation's 16th HUD Secretary. Thank you. Don't worry, I found the restrooms. But yesterday I was thinking back to a few years ago when I had just started my job as mayor, and I remembered that a few weeks after I started my job as mayor, there was a meeting that I had, and the meeting was with a couple of folks, but at the end of the meeting, there was a woman who had brought a little gift, and she had it in a gift bag. And for those of y'all, if anybody here has ever served on a city council or as mayor or on a school board, you know that people often bring you little gifts. Don't worry, they're legal. They're usually T-shirts. I think I have 200 T-shirts from over the years of serving in public office. But this time, before the meeting was over, she handed me this gift bag, and I opened up the gift bag, and I took out a little prayer card that she had given me. And I looked at the prayer card, and I'm Catholic, but I didn't know that St. Thomas More, which was the saint on the prayer card, is apparently the patron saint of lawyers and politicians. That's true. And so I said, oh, thank you very much. I appreciate the gift. And then right before she walked out the door, she said, oh, and by the way, he was beheaded. That's also true. And I thought to myself as a young mayor, what in the world have I gotten myself into? Fortunately, I don't feel like that now, but I bet that over the years, in the work that you do, with the passion that you have for people, and how much you care about your mission, I bet that there have been some days when you feel like that. When you look out there and see how much need there is in your communities, when over the years you see how much tougher it has become to get the resources that are needed out there in our country for folks who are deserving of them. When you look at your own paycheck, I bet, sometimes, and see that you're certainly not in it because you're getting rich, or sometimes even because you have a retirement plan. I bet there's some times when you do feel like that. What in the world have I gotten myself into? But let me just say, on behalf of all of us who share your passion and who share your goals, a huge thank you for the work that you do, for giving a voice to those living on the streets. Often, it's too easy for folks to get desensitized about their lives. I remember when I was younger visiting a few cities in our nation and seeing so many folks sleeping on sidewalks, subway stations, panhandling on the side of the road or at intersections. And while I'd see the occasional passerby engage somebody in conversation or give them some coins or $1, oftentimes it seemed like they became invisible, like the world just passed them by, and it was as though being homeless had become an accepted part of the urban landscape, like a bus stop or a street lamp. There was this misperception in the air that if someone was homeless on the street, that he or she was lazy or had done something to deserve that fate. The thing is, you and I know better than that. Those experiencing homelessness aren't problems, they are people. And each of them has a story. Whether it's the couple who went bankrupt during the Great Recession, or the veteran who's having difficulty adjusting to life back home, they don't need a handout, they need housing. And I'm excited to be here because you're helping to make that possible. You're giving them new hope for the future. And because of your work over these last few years, in just 3 years, we've seen an 8% drop in family homelessness. We've seen a 16% drop in chronic homelessness. And we've seen a 24% drop in veterans homelessness in the United States of America because of you. Y'all are showing that we've got to do more than help others overcome the odds. We've got to fundamentally change the odds. We've got to create an infrastructure that gives everyone a fair shot at achieving the American dream. This is the cause that I will fight for as your HUD secretary each and every day. And today, this being my first speech, I'd like to briefly share 3 priorities. First, building on the work of Secretary Donovan, I want everyone to know that HUD is more than just another agency. HUD is your Department of Opportunity. It's your champion for opportunity. And when I leave in January 2017, I won't judge my tenure or the work of my staff by the number of initiatives we've begun or press releases that we've issued. I'll judge it by results, by the way we were able to make a difference in the lives of individuals and of families, and to make the hopes and dreams that they have real, the way that you're doing. For too long, these Americans have been relegated to the shadows of our society. But you and our president have put them at the top of the agenda, and so must we all. During my tenure, HUD will fight for these Americans, and we'll keep fighting until they get the fair chance they deserve to achieve the American dream. And that brings me to a second priority: revitalizing our nation's urban areas. We are in a century of cities, a time when America's urban centers are growing again. The Census Bureau projects that by 2050, the population in urban areas will grow by more than 60 million people. Families are becoming increasingly attracted to the jobs and the energy that urban areas offer. But we all know that growth by itself is not enough. It has to be inclusive growth that reaches everyone, including those experiencing homelessness. This is an issue that is rampant in urban areas, which is why we have to ensure that revitalization includes decent, affordable housing so that nobody is left behind. That's what's happening on San Antonio's east side. It's the only neighborhood in America that has received funding to implement major projects under three key administration revitalization efforts: Choice Neighborhoods, Promise Neighborhoods, and the Burned Criminal Justice Program, all of which are supporting a comprehensive local vision for the future, including quality housing, good schools, and safe streets. Now, I hope you won't mind me bragging a little bit on my hometown, but I know that that story is not unique. And I know that you are leading efforts in your hometowns to do the same. Now, I understand the importance of community development, and as secretary, I will do everything that I can to support your efforts to make that possible where you are. And I promise to get you help as quickly and as effectively as possible. Now, to a third priority: improving the way that we do business at HUD. I'd like HUD to focus on outcomes. I'd like HUD to focus on outcomes and not only on inputs, not just on the money that we spend or the investments that we make, but in the difference that it makes in the lives of the people that we care about and how we measure that. We can't just track projects and dollars spent, but we have to measure those investments. Secretary Donovan built a strong foundation for this, and I'll work hard to make it the norm at HUD. That begins with making it easier for all of you to be successful. I can imagine that you're tired of the paperwork and the delays that come with doing business at HUD. And we're making progress, but more needs to be done. Under my leadership, we're going to streamline the process and announce NOFAs earlier. And why? Because when you succeed, our communities succeed as well. And I promise to keep on looking for ways to make your lives easier. HUD is your partner in opportunity. And make no mistake, ensuring that everyone can obtain and maintain access to housing remains a top priority for me. In fact, I want to stress how proud I am that my first speech is to the National Alliance to End Homelessness. My appearance here should send a very loud and clear signal. HUD's commitment is the same as it's ever been: strong, passionate, and firmly dedicated to working with you to end homelessness once and for all. This administration will not rest until the job is done. a commitment that starts at the top with President Obama. His Opening Doors initiative is the first federal strategic plan to end, not just reduce, homelessness. Federal agencies have broken free from the old approaches and the old assumptions that didn't work. Now we're using tailored solutions, from rapid rehousing to permanent supportive housing, to give folks the support they need. We've increased collaboration with other agencies like VA and HHS to better serve communities. With efforts like HUD, we're using data to determine what's working and what's not, and helping guide a more targeted approach to assisting those in need. We're embracing the compelling evidence that shows how effective it is to provide opportunity at the outset by offering housing first. One study from New York showed that 91% of families who received permanent supportive housing remained housed 1 year later, compared to just 28% for those who didn't receive that support. They also spent 40% less time in jail. So we know that these approaches work and are making a difference. And the challenge now is to scale our progress, to finish the job. And I know this as well as you do. That takes resources. In the President's fiscal year 2015 budget, HUD requested exactly $301 million in additional funding for homeless assistance grants. I didn't round that figure down because I want to be very precise. This isn't some number that was pulled out of thin air. We determined that 37,000 new units of permanent supportive housing are needed to end chronic homelessness. And then we calculated that this exact figure will meet that demand and fulfill our moral obligation to our neighbors in need. It will also meet our economic obligation to protect taxpayer dollars. We know that it costs up to $50,000 a year to let a person cycle through emergency rooms, hospitals, and other costly public services. And permanent supportive housing only costs up to $20,000 a year. So this funding works for both the common good and the bottom line. And right now, Congress has the chance to act on this issue. By investing $301 million in additional funding, they can save money and they can save lives. It's time to get that done. Of course, action in Washington only goes so far. I say that with a twin brother who's a congressman. In fact, during my time as mayor, I saw progress often begins from the ground up, with the grassroots, with the energy and the passion and the good solutions that you're working on. And that's why I joined the Mayor's Challenge to end veteran homelessness, because we can't end homelessness nationally unless we end it locally. Mayor Becker in Salt Lake City and Mayor Stanton in Phoenix have already ended chronic homelessness for veterans and are now committed to ending homelessness for all veterans. Mayors, governors, and county executives across the country have pledged to do the same. And in doing so, they're showing everyone that this goal is not just a dream. It's a goal that's within reach for veterans, for youth, for our families, and for individuals. And now it's up to all of us in this room to seize that opportunity. I know y'all as advocates are committed to making this happen. Your leadership has brought us within reach of ending homelessness. Imagine that for a second. Imagine the day when we can say, in the United States of America, that we have effectively ended homelessness. What a day that'll be. Now, our entire HUD team has been proud to support your vision. I know Ann Oliva and Jennifer Ho are here today. Where are they at? They deserve a great round of applause for their work. And they will continue to lead our effort at HUD, and I'm proud of their leadership. Our Continuum of Care program currently funds just over 8,000 local programs that are meeting the needs of their communities in unique ways. We want to continue to support you, which is why HUD is constantly looking in the mirror to see how we can get the most out of our resources. And I wanted to come here today to respectfully ask for y'all to do the same. Please look at your programs. If they're just good, that's not good enough. If you're using the same program model that you did 20 years ago, there may be a better way. If your local community isn't keeping up with the progress that's been made nationally, it's time to try something different. We're not asking any of you to do away with all the resources that you offer. But it's important for all of us to think strategically and invest in programs that are going to end homelessness. This means reviewing all the existing programs to place resources towards efforts that we know will work, while letting go of ineffective efforts from the past. And I know that change is never easy, but it's necessary to meet our ambitious goals. And that's why we're sharpening the tools at HUD. I ask that you do that as well. And together, we can ensure that every person, regardless of their station in life, can have a place to call home. This is why I got into public service, because I was blessed with opportunity in my life, and I wanted to help ensure that other folks had the same kind of opportunities. Through your work, you are blessing folks with opportunity as well. Our mission today is to extend that opportunity to everyone. This conference represents the start of a new partnership between you and me. Now, I know that this isn't a shy group, but still, I want to emphasize that I welcome your feedback. My door will always be open. Tell us how we can be a more effective partner with you. Let us know how we can better serve you. I want all of us to look back on this time as a turning point in this important movement, a time when we changed the odds for struggling Americans, a time when we gave young people the opportunity to thrive, a time when we gave veterans the opportunity to find decent housing in the country that they defended, a time when we gave all those who've fallen on hard times the chance to turn a new page and start anew. The administration's commitment to the people we serve is greater than it's ever been. With our momentum, we have an incredible chance to succeed. With so many lives in the balance, we have an obligation to succeed. With so many people who need our help, we cannot stop until we succeed. And working together, I promise you this, we will succeed. Thank you.